This activity, you're actually going to start to create activities and design activities. So from page 17 in your training material, it's important to go and look at what activities should look like. What are the things you are supposed to be taking into account when creating activities? And if you have any questions about any of those things, please let me know. In this video, I do want to focus on the actual template, and I want to help you guys to fill that in. So if you open your training material on page 19, it's a sample of an activity plan, and I'm just going to talk you through it a little bit so that it makes a little bit more sense. So you will start with the name of the activity. So obviously you can choose any name you want, that you know what you call this activity if you want to do it again in the future. And then the time needed is how long do you plan for the children to be busy with this activity. And then the age of children. This is very important because the age of the children will depend on the difficulty of the activity, how long it will take, the things that you're going to use. For example, you won't have scissors as a resource if it's for 2-year-old children. So this type of things you need to take into account. Then very important, your theme. So all activities that we do, we want to relate to the theme. So if your theme of the week is, for example, stones, then the resources and the activities should all have a link to stones. So maybe they must make stones with Play-Doh, maybe they must count the amount of stones. So anything that you do in the activity must somehow relate to the theme that you chose for that week. So that's why a theme, it's important to put that in there so that I can see that you can create activities that link to the theme. Resources needed. There you would name all the things that you need to complete this activity. So if they are going to cut something out and paste it, you're going to need to have scissors, you're going to need to have Prit, you're going to need to have list all of the resources that you actually need. Learning environment management is the next one. So that would be, where is the activity going to be? Is it indoors? Is it outdoors? Are the children sitting on the mat? Are they standing? So what does it look like, the environment that the activity is going to be happening in? Preparation. So before the activity starts, what do you as the practitioner have to do before the time? So if you have to cut out something for the children before the time, put the paint on the table. So anything that you as the practitioner have to prepare before the time, you can write down there. Then ideas for extension activities, very important. Extension of an activity means that it's an idea for when some of the children finishes very quickly with an activity and the other children are still busy, then they can continue with this part of the activity. So it's something that you add at the end that's still part of the same activity. So it's not a completely different activity. It's just an extension of the current activity. And then self-evaluation. So after you've done the activity, then you can say, yes, it went well, but this and this I can change to make better in the future. Then if you look at page 20, it's the second page of the activity plan. So in this part, the page is divided into 2 columns. So on the left side, you have the learning outcomes, and on the right side, the description of the activities. So, and this is divided into 3 main parts, which is the introduction, the body of the activity, and then the conclusion. So for each of these 3 main things, you have to explain both the columns. So you have to explain the learning outcomes and you have to explain the description of the activity. For the learning outcomes, this is what domain is being developed while I'm doing whatever I'm doing on the right side. So let's take, for example, introduction. So on the right side, in the example here, it says you have finger play of 5 wriggly caterpillars. So for introduction of the activity, you can always have like a rhyme or a song, or remind the children, maybe they must wear aprons. How you introduce the activity, you are going to write there. And then on the left side, whatever is being developed while you introduce the activity, that you can write on the left side. So for example, cognitive development, this and this is being developed while we are busy with the introduction. Then we move to the body, and this is the most important part, because in the body, on the right side under the description, I need to know exactly what the activity is going to be like, step by step. So I must be able to take your activity plan and know exactly what to do in the activity. So you must write it very detailed underneath the body of the activity. And then again, on the left side where the learning outcomes is, you explain what is being developed while the children are busy with the body. Last part, you are just finishing off the activity. Maybe you can ask the children some questions after they are finished with the activity. And then again on the left side, explain what is being developed. So if you ask questions, obviously cognitively they will be developed.